Port Charles was no stranger to darkness, but on this night, it seemed as if the whole city was holding its breath. The rain came in sheets, battering the docks where a deal had gone terribly wrong. The plan had been simple, too simple, as Jason Morgan had warned. Vaughn was supposed to be the contact, the man with the flash drive holding the intel that could finally dismantle Brennan's remaining network. Jocelyn Jacks, stubborn as ever, had insisted on being part of the pickup. She had been training under Dex's watchful eye, shadowing Jason on lower-risk jobs, but this was her first night flying solo in the field. Jason had been against it. Carly had been furious. But Joss had argued, if you want me to be ready, you have to trust me. Now, standing in the whipping wind on Pier 47, Joss realized trust could be a razor blade. Vaughn appeared from the shadows, clutching his side. His jacket was soaked not only from the rain but from the slow, dark spread of blood. "Joss," he rasped, looking over his shoulder like a hunted man. "You weren't supposed to come alone." "I didn't," Joss said, her voice sharp with concern as she reached out to steady him. "Where's the drive?" Vaughn's hand trembled as he pulled something small and metallic from his pocket. Not the flash drive, but a crumpled photograph. He shoved it into her palm. They'll kill me before sunrise," he said, coughing. "But you need to know, Jason has to know." A gunshot cracked the night, and Vaughn staggered. Joss caught him, her knees hitting the wet dock with a splash.
"Vaughn!"
"Stay with me," she cried, her voice breaking. Somewhere in the distance, Jason's voice was shouting her name, but in this moment, the world narrowed to Vaughn's fading breath and the fear in his eyes. Vaughn's hand clutched at Joss's sleeve, gripping with surprising strength for a dying man. "It wasn't Brennan," he whispered. "It was Jason's." He coughed hard, blood flecking his lips. "Jason's brother. Michael." The name hit Joss like a punch to the chest.
"Michael? No."
That didn't make sense. Michael was a Quartermain, a Corinthos, her brother in every way that mattered. He would never. Vaughn's eyes were glassy now, his voice breaking. He paid Brennan to make Jason disappear. Said it was for the family, for Sonny. Vaughn's breath rattled, and his grip weakened. "Tell Jason, tell him, I'm sorry." And then, the light in his eyes went out. Jason was there seconds later, dropping to his knees beside them, his hands already checking for a pulse he knew wasn't there. "What happened?" His tone was urgent, clipped, the tone of a man who wanted answers now. Joss looked up at him, rain streaking her face like tears she refused to shed. He said, "Michael," she trailed off, realizing how insane it sounded. "He said Michael paid Brennan to make you disappear. He said it was for the family." Jason's face didn't change, but Joss saw the flicker in his eyes, the one that told her she'd just dropped a bomb that could destroy everything. In the chaos, the real flash drive had vanished. Jason searched Vaughn's body, but all he found was the crumpled photo Vaughn had pressed into Joss's hand. It was old, worn, a picture of Jason holding a newborn, with Michael standing in the background, smiling faintly. Joss stared at it. "Why would he give me this?" Jason's jaw tightened. "Because someone wanted you to see it." Back at the safe house, Jason paced like a caged predator. Michael, his little brother, the kid he had protected from AJ, the man he had covered for, fought for, even gone to prison for, was now being accused of hiring Brennan to make him vanish? It was unthinkable. And yet, the way Vaughn had said it, Joss sat at the table, the photograph between them. "You don't believe it, do you?" Jason didn't answer. His silence said enough. When Carly arrived, still dripping from the rain, Joss told her everything. Carly's face shifted through disbelief, anger, and something that looked dangerously like fear. "Michael would never," Carly said, her voice trembling.
"He's not like that."
She stopped herself, glancing at Jason. Jason's voice was low, dangerous. "Carly, if Vaughn was telling the truth, then Michael's been playing us all along." Carly shook her head.
"No."
"You don't get to say that until you know. He's your brother." What none of them knew was that someone had been listening outside the safe house door, Dex Heller. He had been sent by Michael to make sure the deal with Vaughn went smoothly. But now, Hearing Vaughn's dying confession through the crack in the door, Dex's stomach churned. If it was true, Michael had set into motion a chain of events that could tear Port Charles apart, and Dex was stuck in the middle. Later that night, Joss sat alone in her apartment, turning Vaughn's last words over in her mind. Michael was family. Family didn't betray each other. But then, Sonny and Carly's world was built on betrayals, on deals and secrets.
She had grown up seeing that.
Was it really impossible that Michael had made a ruthless choice to protect them? She stared at the photo again. Jason holding a baby, Michael in the background. And something about Michael's expression made her shiver. By morning, Jason had made up his mind. Whether or not Michael was guilty, the only way to know was to dig deeper. He told Joss, "You're staying out of this. You already risked your life once." Joss crossed her arms. "You think I'm going to walk away now?" "He died in my arms, Jason. He trusted me with this." Jason's eyes softened, but his voice stayed firm. "That's exactly why I need you safe. Because if Vaughn was right, Michael isn't going to stop at making me disappear." The city would hear that Vaughn's death was just another casualty in a mob war. But Jason was already setting up a plan, using Vaughn's funeral as bait. Whoever had wanted him dead might show up to make sure no loose ends remained. Joss, of course, refused to stay home. The funeral was tense. The rain had cleared, but the air felt heavy. Joss stood beside Carly, her eyes scanning the crowd. Michael was there, looking somber, his arm around Willow. Jason was watching too, not just Michael, but everyone. And then he saw it, a man slipping something into Michael's coat pocket before disappearing into the crowd. Jason moved fast, catching Michael by the arm. He reached into the pocket and pulled out the missing flash drive. Michael's eyes widened. "What the hell, Jason? I don't know where that came from." Jason's voice was cold steel. "It came from Vaughn. And from the man who says you wanted me gone." Michael's face darkened. "You're really going to believe that over me?" Jason didn't answer. The silence between them was worse than shouting. Joss couldn't take it anymore. "Michael, if you didn't do it, then prove it. Open the drive. Show us what's on it." Michael's jaw clenched. "Not here." Jason's gaze didn't waver. "Then where?" The story ends, for now, with the three of them leaving the funeral together, the flash drive burning a hole in Jason's pocket. Whether Michael was guilty or the victim of a setup, one thing was certain. Vaughn's death had set a fuse. And when it blew, Port Charles would never be the same. If you want, I can now expand this version with extra layers, including Vaughn's backstory, Michael's secret motivations, flashback scenes showing Brennan's involvement, and a more drawn-out emotional arc between Joss, Jason, and Carly, so it reads like a week-long General Hospital sweepstakes event. That way it feels exactly like the big, messy, can't-miss storyline fans obsess over. Do you want me to go straight into that full expanded version?